Five Nights at Freddy's. So this is based on obviously the very popular video game series.
I thought this was decidedly average. It didn't blow me away by any shape or form. Sadly, because I was really looking forward to this. I think the movie had some great scenes. There were some excellent parts to it. By God, it bored us at points, to be honest. There's a very similar movie called Willy's Wonderland starring Nick Cage. For me, that is a more entertaining movie by far than this.
I wouldn't say I was ever bored during this. I played a couple of the Freddy's games, vaguely aware of the lore of it, and this makes some big changes. I don't remember there being like ghost kids in the original game, but I think there's some like interesting characters. I think Josh Hutcherson, who plays Mike, the lead character, was a pretty good performance. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed the kind of relationship with the sister. I absolutely hated the cop character.
Yeah, me too.
I think
she did nothing for
absolutely the most generic cop lady you could possibly write in a movie, and I really just didn't care for her at all.
You know, I think that the characters were nice. I loved, I'm sure you're going to gush about them later on, but Matthew was stunning in it. The Freddy bits were really well done. They felt like good horror. It was creepy. It was a little bit on the edge scary, but there was just far too little of it. I feel like I saw everything in the trailers, to be honest. And then there was large sections of the movie which really weren't about Freddy and the animatronics at all. It was all the family background, which is fine if you're into that kind of thing, but it just felt very spread out to me. I'm like you, James. I don't know any of the lore. I've not played any of the games or anything like that, so I went into this quite blind, to be honest.
Because the Freddy, like Fazbear characters have grown to be so iconic, really struck a chord with a lot of people, particularly kids, which I think is why they've not really gone too violent with this movie. Those kind of iconic designs and the sound effects and the kind of TV hissing and that kind of stuff, those nods to the games, are doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this movie. I do really like the scary sequences, like how they kind of play out, but I feel like the movie does a bit of a disservice having Freddy and the other robots not be bad guys for a chunk of the movie. Like, the characters are aware they're like possessed by ghosts, but they're not being chased by them or anything. And I thought that was kind of strange and took away from some of the scare factor a bit.
Yeah, and some of the character decisions, like you mentioned, you referenced the police lady there. She obviously was aware of the murders and the bodies. She was a bit of a baddie as well.
Was she not killing people? Because didn't he say your job was to not let them get too close and to kill people who do? So it's like, oh, she's been killing the other people that have been hired. Also, why hire security guards in the first place? What's the purpose of that?
So the impression, and again, this is part of my problem, I guess I was trying to make some logic out of it. My understanding was that the bodies of the kids were in the animatronics, so he didn't want people getting into the building and discovering the bodies, maybe?
I think you've made that smarter than the movie tried to. I don't know if it thought that far ahead. Like, that is an element in the games. I believe there's like a backstory of like there was some kids that went missing and the bodies were found inside the bears. But I don't think the movie actually intended that to be the case. There's also a moment, and I felt like that like a scene was missing. I don't know, maybe I just zoned out during it, where they kind of make the connection that the kids who went missing in the 80s and Mike's brother were both taken by the same guy. So it's like revealed, oh, this man, and she names the guy, and there's a big dun 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 as if we're supposed to know what that name means. But then immediately Mike goes, oh, so you knew about my brother. But I don't remember the movie making that connection that they were by the same person.
Well, oh God, I can't.
I know we know because it's obvious, because it's a movie and we can tell that these things are connected. But I don't remember the movie establishing that this was definitely the same person that did this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I can't recall it. The other bit that kind of didn't confuse us, but the images, the drawings that the sister did went back ages, didn't they? So was that implying that she'd been seeing do you know at the start it references my ghost friends and things like that, and don't sit on my imaginary friends, and she's got all these drawings of them all, and then at the end it's like he discovers the pictures and realizes it's Freddy and his crew. So was she seeing all these ghost kids before he even went to Freddy's?
I think so. That's sort of the impression I got, because the picture she didn't start drawing them after she went.
No, she'd been drawing them.
Was it not after the first night, like night 2 or something, the first night that she stays there? Was it not after that?
No, I don't think so. I think at the very start it kind of implies that she's got imaginary friends and that she's drawn pictures of all these kids and stuff. So I don't know.
The movie, I don't think thought about it too deeply.
I was surprised we didn't get a resolution to his missing brother. I thought that might have been revealed as one of the ghost kids or something like that.
Absolutely, because at one point I counted 5 kids and I'm like, well, there's 4 animatronics, and I know the little cupcake is an animatronic, but I don't see how you squeeze a body into that. But yeah, no,
I mean, you can give it a go.
I would have thought there'd be some kind of scene where he says goodbye to the brother, if like the brother could have been a ghostly apparition, where he has the kind of resolution. But you're absolutely right, and things just go like at the end of this movie, and I found this very strange. It's sort of a happy ending. How did he explain how his aunt was dead in his sitting room floor.
Was she dead, or was she just knocked out?
I assume she was dead because like Freddy doesn't take no prisoners. Surely
It's not mentioned, is it? It's not.
Well, you just see her
mentioned
legs
about
on the ground, but I assume that she was killed. But even if she wasn't, like, you know, you're not going to address what her opinion on that was. There's some big bear thing just attacked her in the house.
I mean, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking it was worse than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, we're actively hating more this movie more and more. So go on, yeah.
Do you know what, James? We both love horror, I know that. And I keep focusing on the scenes with Freddy, where, like when the people break in and they're hunting them down. It's not graphically violent. You don't see much blood and guts and stuff like that. But it's sufficiently creepy. I love the kind of the music, the atmosphere of it, the things around the corners and stuff like that. Those elements I thought were really, really strong. But I don't think there was enough of it. And like you say, all of a sudden we're flipped to them playing tense with the girl lying and looking at the stars or whatever the hell that was all about. And it just totally diffused all of that for us. I don't know, it felt a very strange film to me.
Yeah, they're not intimidating anymore when you see them like playing patty cake or whatever with with a little girl.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, absolutely. One highlight I think of the movie, absolutely, and you mentioned it earlier, Matthew Lillard. He's fantastic. Now, this movie is so predictable. I immediately clocked. As soon as he mentioned like, oh, the owner, I was like, well, he's going to be the owner, or he's involved in this somehow. Like, there's a reason he's given this guy this job.
The second he was on screen, pretty much, to be honest.
Because why get Matthew Lillard otherwise?
Yeah, I would say, mate, that was one of the most genuinely disturbing or creepy scenes where he kind of comes through the door in the costume. Peering through the door. That was pretty impressive. I like that.
That shot is in the trailer. As soon as the yellow rabbit thing was mentioned, I was like, well, this is going to be another animatronic later on. And then they set up that people can be in the suits. But yeah.
And I'm assuming, James, you will have noticed the little scream nod near the end.
Oh, no. I didn't notice. What was the scream?
You didn't see the scream nod?
What was it?
Oh, you hand in your geek card. When he stabs his daughter, which is totally random as well. Do you know what I mean? I think I'll just kill my daughter now. He cleans his knife in the same way as Ghostface cleans his knife.
He does, doesn't he? I didn't even cop that. I'm annoyed now. Yeah. Matthew Lillard plays unhinged characters so well. I really just loved like that last sequence where he's kind of in the suit screaming and just going absolutely ballistic.
But oh God, James, we need to stop talking about it because it's depressing us. Big build up, big baddie. Ta-da, here I am. The cupcake thing bites his belly and he's put himself in a costume that literally destroys his ribcage and kills him if it's touched, so he's dead. There was no climax or kind of the Freddy creatures. We'll literally get a bit of build-up about them, and then it's but electricity sees them off and they're literally all dispatched in seconds.
That really bothered me. Because there should have been a sequence where he's like in the office. Because in the games, you're like the security guard, you're sat watching the monitors. It's a puzzle game, effectively. You have to reroute power to this door, that door, and you only have a limited amount to stop them from getting through certain places to get to the office. So I think like a sequence where they're all going ham and like it's really tense and like he's just barely surviving would have been great, but he just comes in with a stun gun and a cattle prod and just knocks them out immediately, and it's like, okay, well, we're not doing a spooky sequence at the end of this then, are we? Disappointing out climax, I think. You know, it's a video game movie. This is kind of on par. The spooky elements of it I really enjoyed, so I would put it probably above most, because there's some god-awful game adaptations. I'd put it above most of them, but it's just kind of an horror movie. I understand you're trying to appeal to 12, 13-year-olds. Those are kind of who the hardcore Freddy fan base are. So I understand why you're not going hardcore with the violence. There was actually, I thought, one pretty good kill. The babysitter girl gets like bitten in half and you only see it in the shadows, but you just see half a carcass kind of slap on the ground.
Yeah, that was good.
So I enjoyed that. There's some good elements to this, and I think like with a better script and a better director maybe for the next one, it could be a really great movie.
Give us more of the Freddy characters being scary. I would say I went with my family and I went with my son who struggles with jump scares at the best of times, but there were a few good jump scares in this where he did have a bit of a wobble, a jump off his seat kind of moments.
I did like the gag that kind of runs through the movie of the little minifigure that like it just jumps in on, and you even get, did you see the after credit scene?
Yes, I did.
Of the taxi man.
Apparently that guy was a YouTuber, so there was a number of
streamers and stuff.
YouTubers, streamers.
Exactly, Well, that's where a lot of the kind of fan base comes from, is like Twitch, people watching people play the games. You know, that's where kind of a lot of it comes from. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, I think it's like, if you're a fan of the games, I think there's a lot here for you. There's a lot of cool nods, a lot of cool references. Fairly entertaining, but it's not a great movie. It's not particularly scary. It's not really that violent. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that's the best I can muster, that it's an average movie. And sorry to go back to it, but Willy's Wonderland, which is a very similar concept, that movie was entertaining throughout from what I remember.
Well, Nick Cage, of course it is.
It's Nick Cage, isn't it? It's Nick Cage. I wanted to love it because I thought the aesthetics looked great, and I'm a big fan of the animatronic side of things, but it just didn't set my world on fire, I'm afraid.
Go watch Willy's Wonderland if you want a good Five Nights at Freddy's movie. think that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.